Hello once again, and welcome to another episode of Darthtuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I am your host, Darthtuba, and be sure to check out all my other videos on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel, Darthtuba, 2 words. Follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Darthtuba, or like and follow me on my Darthtuba Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. So, what do we have today? Today we have a twofer. Okay, we have two toy pieces working together, two characters working together for 40 years, and Sideshow / Hot Toys has come up with an awesome movie likeness action figure, and we're dealing with this. Yes, this is the Han Solo and Chewbacca from The Force Awakens. Now, before we get into it, let me just kind of set ourselves up here. First, to be aware that Star Wars The Force Awakens obviously came out in December of 2015, so it's been out a little over a year and a couple of months, and it was a very, very, very hyped up movie, and I think in most ways, it lived up to a lot of the hype. But one of its most notable qualities was that it featured the return of Harrison Ford as the character of Han Solo. Now, Harrison Ford, for those who don't know, has been kind of in this love-hate relationship with the character of Han Solo all these years. And I think most of that has to do with the fact that in the early or mid to late 70s, when the first movie came out, it wasn't really a main featured role. He was more of a supporting role. And he, kind of went along into The Empire Strikes Back, the second movie, the first sequel, and then into Return of the Jedi. What many people don't realize is that when Return of the Jedi was coming around, he actually did not want his character to survive. He wanted his character to be killed off in Return of the Jedi. He felt that it made more sense in terms of gravitas and story element that this character sacrificed himself. George Lucas disagreed. Although other people didn't. I'm not 100% sure about the director, Richard Marquand, but I do believe that Lawrence Kasdan, the writer for Empire and I think on Jedi a little bit, did not want to see Han Solo survive. He wanted the character to be killed off as well. But George Lucas ultimately decided no, he wanted the character to live. He wanted to tie up all loose ends and have them all live happily ever after, until he sold Lucasfilm to Disney, and the announcement came out that there would be brand new movies, and this came out in 2012. And when the announcement came back that they're trying to get the original big three, get the band back together, as it were, meaning they would bring back Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher. When it was officially announced that Harrison Ford was coming back, I made the prediction that I mourned the loss. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie. I mourned the loss at that moment, which is probably 2 years before the movie came out. I mourned the loss of Han Solo. I knew that he would not survive the end of The Force Awakens. Maybe there was a slight itsy-bitsy chance that he would have lived beyond into the second movie, the second movie of the sequel trilogy, if you will, Episode 8. But more than likely, no. It seemed like it was his movie, and he was going to sacrifice himself. That's what he wanted. Lawrence Kasdan came out to write. I know that's what he wanted. So I feel like that is always the way it was going to go. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know anything about Kylo Ren being Han's son or anything of that nature, but I did know that's what was going to happen with Han Solo. Or at least I was pretty sure about it. So it happened. I thought it was very well written. I thought it was a very good part for Harrison Ford to kind of bid farewell to his character. A great way for everyone to be happy with the way it ended. It was gut-wrenching to watch, even though I knew it was coming. You never have a ledge in the middle of a chasm with no railings with two people walking on it. You never have that happen in a movie without someone going off of it. So, but back to the toy. Of course, I'm only talking about Harrison Ford. This also includes a Chewbacca, which, Chewbacca's a hard action figure, to create. I have probably 6 or 7 different incarnations from things that came out in the 70s. We're talking about 12-inch figures, things that came out in the 70s till now, and they never ever seem to get it quite right. So let's see what the movie masters and Hot Toys can do. All right, so we're going to take this one. First of all, I got to comment about the packaging. I mean, they just do amazing work. I mean, it's just it's like looking at a very high end, type of book or it's just some type of thing like that, and it's just really neat. So obviously, and that's good because while for unboxers like myself, it's nice to be able to display. If there's ever a point where I do want to sell the figure or put it back in the box for storage, it does give me that option as well, and I've mentioned that in past shows. Okay, so and of course, along with this. Oh, wow, we have a great... This is awesome. Look at this. I'm just trying to get it without the glare. We've got imagery, made-up imagery from the movie. We've got, looks like Han and Chewie just kind of in a general thing. But I like this one over here where they're posing, like, when their hands are behind the head before the resistance comes to save them. This is, I guess, their Chewie, we're home kind of pose. It's funny, I was just reliving that. I was watching a YouTube video of... somebody who did a little little following through of all the events of the Celebration Anaheim, and that's one of those moments in a fan's memory that will linger forever. So that was really cool. All right, so there's a nice little picture here. So then we open this up, and there we have them. We have the figures protected in plastic. These are going to require some work here. So we'll see how we do. Now, I will say that they do a really good job of getting these figures out, packaged, but it is a challenge to try to get them out at first. I mean, air suction being what it is. Comes with this little, over the top packaging, generally speaking. Okay. Wow, I'm not used to seeing... Let's start with Chewbacca. I'm not used to seeing him naked. He's naked. That's weird. I got to get his bandolier strap on there. Okay, I'll figure that out. The funny thing is that he comes... Like I mentioned this in a previous episode. There are all these little Chewie hands. These little Chewie hand options. Now, this is the one thing that, kind of... annoys me about, I think what I'll do is I'm going to try to replace just one hand. I'm going to try to just replace the one hand that he has so he can hold his bowcaster. Oh, wow. The bowcaster even has like a little spring to it. That's so cool. Nice. I like this thing. So, anyway, I'm going to use this little picture here to kind of remind me. Okay. So if he puts this in his right hand, that should be all he needs to hold this. All right, and then he can use the other hand to hold it. All right, this is always the scary part, is I have to pull the hands out, and I don't have a lot of luck with these and now we got to throw fur into this as well. Well, I got it off, so that's good. This is like crazy. Oh, I think I got it. Okay, cool. So this is crazy stuff when it's just sorry. It's crazy when you no, see, it didn't happen. Ugh, come on, Hot Toys. You got to do a better job at these things. Jeez, it's kind of crazy. I know. It's like it's hard enough when you're dealing with this and you've got remember that I try to put the hand on first. It's a shame about these like high-end items is that you would think that this would be a better, handled thing, but it's just not easy. All right. So I got that. All right, so that's that. Now, what I am not seeing right away, I am not seeing a bandolier. Oh, wait, yes I am. I am seeing it. Well, let me just get Han Solo out next. Oh, he's got his plastic all over his arms and legs. I always loved the costume that they put Han Solo in for this. I thought it was an appropriate. I thought it was an appropriate kind of variation onto the look of look of Han Solo's character. I think that he's always kind of gone through these just subtle changes. I mean, a lot of people think that he was wearing the same outfit in Return of the Jedi that he was in Star Wars, and that is actually untrue. He was not. He was in fact wearing a slightly different shirt and the jacket, and I even think the vest was a little bit different as well. Okay, so we once again have to do the same thing with his. Okay, this was easier. Okay, I can say this that the flesh-colored hands much easier. All right, what do we got here? We have. I'm not sure what they are. A couple of little things. I tend to not take out a lot of the little items. I think that some of those little items are just too easy to lose. Obviously, we'll keep his gun out. But some of those little tiny items, I mean, he even comes with gloves, I guess, so he can pilot the ship. Oh, I know what these are. Those are detonators. Okay, so he has the detonators. Okay, and now, so there's Han. I'll get put his gun in his hand. Okay, good. You know, it's funny. One thing that Hot Toys did a while ago, I have a Luke Skywalker, Bespin Luke Skywalker figure. They actually had him with different eyes. You can actually take the face off. It's very, very bizarre. You take the face off, and you could remove the eyes to have a different type of eyes, different set of eyes. Like you could like change around his face a little bit because he was actually like two figures. He was like the Luke Skywalker that was on on Dagobah, you know, like before he does the training with Yoda, and then you have a Luke Skywalker that's on Bespin getting his butt kicked by Vader. So that's something to consider as well. All right. Oh, now this is a choice. Do I put him in? Do I add? Oh my God, there's like another layer. Okay, we get it. The security is rough here. Oh my goodness. We have literally 3 layers of 3 layers. This is just to get to the stand. Although there's also some other stuff here, which we'll talk about. Anyway, the Bespin Luke had actually like a lot of different looks to him, and I guess that's kind of cool because that does allow you to change up the look of your characters, which is nice. You know, so you can display it for a long stretch of time a certain way, and then you can change it up when you feel like it. Oh goodness! Goodness gracious! All right. Whew. Okay, we got our 2 stands. We got our. Ooh. All right, I think I'm going to go with these. I like these. They have a little snow base, so you can have it be like they're out on the Starkiller base. So that's kind of nice. Take those out. It's nice that they give you a lot of options. You know, the options are always cool to display, thereby also giving you more reasons to even unbox. Like there's some things that I just feel like if you're not going to. You know, there's an irony to it. Like, you know, I know a lot of people might be looking at this going, oh my God, I can't believe you're opening it up. You're totally like devaluing the toy. Oh my God, it's horrible. I can't believe you're doing that. You know what? There's so much value. There's so much that goes into, oh my God, his coat. It's his coat and his scarf. Oh my goodness. But the funny thing is, he literally has a jacket opened up. I have to open up the jacket like it's like I'm playing with a Barbie doll. Oh my goodness. Are you serious? I think I'll just leave it unbuttoned. Yeah, I'm gonna do the coat. I'm gonna do the coat and the scarf. All right. I can always change that up later if I want. And so Chewbacca does not have to be naked. We have his bandolier strap. There it goes. Nice. This is really cool. All right. So I think that is all I am going to need from this Oh my goodness, now it's back to normal, back to the way it was. So we cover this one. We cover... Ah, Chewie, don't fall. And then we cover this one. All right, it goes back in the box. All right. Whew! All right, so we have our two bases. So we take our one base, and these bases come with these very interesting things. They're essentially just, I guess you just kind of start to see on this camera, but you just kind of rest the finger, you rest the legs in between. They kind of straddle it. It's a little unusual, but nonetheless, it's kind of cool. So you can put this little base. You can put it any which way you want. And then you just kind of rest. You have to kind of raise these up a little bit. He's got a little bit of a... Okay. All right, there we go. And then we do the same thing with Han. I mean, I like the snow base, gives you a little bit of a thing to kind of position him on. Now we got to put the coat on. Well, first you got his scarf. Here you go. I'm going to take your gun out for a second. I know. You don't like anybody messing with your gun. This is where it gets really freaky. I remember I used to go to a friend's house, and maybe that friend is watching. We have friends. I have friends from New Hampshire. And we used to go when we were kids. We used to go visit them, and I think the daughters. It was a son and two daughters, and the daughters used to have Barbie dolls. And my brother and I, obviously we didn't really, we played with Star Wars, but we really didn't really have Barbie dolls. But I remember thinking to myself, like, oh my God, these kids, they have it's like literally filled with so many shoes and clothing and everything. I was like, my God. Why would you possibly need all this stuff? And now here I am, 35 to 40 years later, and I'm putting a coat on a doll. Of course it's not a doll. It's an action figure. Now, one thing I also want to point out is the coat is blue, which I love, because there was a whole big to-do, for those who don't know this, about the Han Solo action figure that came out in 1980s from Empire Strikes Back, and it was the Han Solo out from Hoth. And he had a blue coat. Well, apparently, we learned later in the years that it wasn't actually a blue coat. It was actually a brown coat. It was just the way the lighting and the snow background and everything else worked. It seemed like it was blue. So, but there was always this argument: is it brown? Is it blue? What's the deal? What's the deal? Is it brown? Is it blue? So now I think as a kind of a throwback to that, they actually solved that issue and they made it officially a blue coat. So there you go. So we have Chewbacca, we have Han Solo from The Force Awakens, and I'm putting them. Well, really, it's no big. Nothing's different about Chewbacca. It's mostly Harrison Ford's character. We put them in the winter outfit for the final scene that he's outside on Starkiller Base, where Chewie kind of goes, and he goes, "Oh, really? You're cold?" Best line in the movie, or one of them. These two are a great pair. It's great that Hot Toys offered them as a pair. You can get them individually, I believe, but there's a little bit of a discount with them as a pair. These are not cheap. Hot Toys are probably the highest end item that I collect. I don't collect them all. I pick and choose different ones. But I got to admit, maybe it's because I'm an original trilogy person. When I say an original trilogy person, it doesn't mean that I only subscribe to the original trilogy and I don't like the prequels. That's absolutely not true. I love all the Star Wars movies, but I grew up with the original trilogy. I was a kid. I was right at that sweet spot, and having the Original trilogy take place between my, when I was 6 till when I was 9 till I was 12. It was a pretty impactful time in my life, and it made a great, great impression on me. And then to come back as an adult and to revisit things with the prequels, and then to come back again as an older adult and revisit the actual movies again with more of the older characters like Han and Chewie and Leia, and other characters too, even Admiral Akbar and Nien Nunb, and even like utilizing all the old puppeteers and a lot of the old workers to work on it. It was really fascinating. But I like and I applaud Lucasfilm for keeping Chewbacca at the same age, because he's 200 years old when we meet him. So 30 years later, if 200 years old, and that's not considered old for a Wookiee, if you're living to be 1,000, like do the ratio. 30 years is not going to matter much. Okay, that's like he lives like, I think Wookiees live like literally 10 times as long as humans. So he'll have to actually turn 300 or 400 years before we start to really see any real difference in hair color or whatnot. I love that they brought Peter Mayhew back for some of the scenes, and I love that they transferred it over to another guy, because Peter Mayhew he's aging and his knees are giving out. He can't do much more than just a few of the sit-down scenes. But I thought it was a seamless melding of the two actors, and I understand he has officially retired from the role, and I guess Johan, I guess, is the new guy taking it. I can't pronounce his last name, but I believe he's taking it over. So, and now I want to talk a little bit about the figure. As far as the figure is concerned, I gotta say I am very pleased with it. I think that this is a really good likeness of Chewbacca. Maybe could you be a little bit bulkier, okay, but not so much. If you look at Peter Mayhew, he's really not that big. He had a little bit of a padded suit on, just to kind of help give him a little bit of beef upness, whatever. I think the Harrison Ford character is looking really good. He's got that grizzled look, but with the full head of hair and the whole gray whitish hair. The clothing, stitching, and everything on it is fantastic. The weaponry is spot on. I love the options that they give you. And if you're into Han Solo, if you're into the Han and Chewie duo, this is a great pair of figures to own. Nice thing about Hot Toys is that they let you make payments. You don't have to pay it all at once. You can do little flex payments over the course of a few months. So it took me a little while to get these, but that's okay, because, as I said, they're worth it. And I hope you guys enjoy my little review. I am looking forward to, there will be an upcoming episode where we actually unbox the Luke, and I can't wait to do that. And when I do that, I might actually bring Luke out together with this, because my one regret is that there was no joining of the big three, Han, Leia, and Luke. They weren't all together again. Okay, there was a little bit of reunion between Han and Leia, which is great, and I'm really hoping that there's a little reunion between Luke and Leia in this movie. At least then we'll get almost everything we wanted. But sorry, there will never be a Han, Leia, and Luke joining together, other than maybe in a comic book or something that happened as a prequel. So anyway, good toy, really cool posability factor, really cool detailing, and I hope you enjoyed it. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel, Darthtuba, 2 words. Be sure to like and subscribe and share and let other people know about it, because I'm sure each week I get 1 or 2 additional people that start watching. And in terms of people that are new to this, who don't already know me, and that's fine. If it just creeps up and grows like that, that's great. As long as people are getting the word out, it's good. And please check me out on Facebook, the Darthtuba Star Wars Unboxing page. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Darthtuba, and email me, darthtuba77@gmail.com. So, once again, thank you very much. Chewie, we're home. May the Force be with you.